You are listening to Revealing Real Estate Podcast, where we dive into getting over your fear of taking risk in real estate and making money while you sleep. I'm Rocco Oppedisano, your host and real estate guru with over 20 years of experience. It's time to get real. Man, today we're going to have a wonderful episode. This gentleman who's going to be joining the show is really dear to my heart. He's probably been with me from the get-go of the stardom of my team early on, where I really needed kind of that help and that buyer agent to go out there and help me deal with a lot of my business at the time, when business was really just starting to really excel for me and growing at the time. So without further introduction, Rocco Oppedisano, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nick. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, buddy.
What an introduction. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to have a tear in my eye. Wow, that's very touching.
Yeah, Rock's been with me for 7 years. For those that don't know Rock, we're also, he's the heart and soul of the OP team. For the majority of the people on the team, they really know Rock's dedication to what he's done, and there's no way that I would be able to be in the position I am today if it wasn't for his help that he has done and provided for many years coming on the team. And I want to talk about, Rock's role and his position and pretty much what he does specifically, because for anybody who's looking to start a team and to grow it, you're gonna need somebody like Rocco to help you develop the team, because it can't be done on your own, as you know, and Rocco makes a really big contribution to that part of it. And we're gonna dive into that a little bit today, and really understand the logic behind his role and what he does. Now, so Rocco's a licensed real estate agent. Rock, you've been licensed with us since what,
2016 going 2017.
Yeah, so we're running on 7 years now.
7 years, running strong.
Yeah.
And can tell you that real estate has changed my life for the better. I guess we'll get into that eventually as we go through. So just to recap, I've known Nick 38 years of my life. He is my older cousin.
Yeah.
One of my older cousins. One of my I don't have an older brother like an older brother. Himself, his siblings, like most time, but. A little background. I used to always be that little guy hanging behind, Nick and Nick's little Nissan sports car. And then we'll get to our background career before real estate.
Well, we can get into that. Let's dive into that a bit, right? Because I think, a lot of people don't know is that I started with your dad back in the, it was a summer job that I was doing.
It was 1994 or 95.
Yeah.
Nick had just got his license. We went out to Italy that summer, and remember my dad giving Nick got his license, or had his G at the time, and went to work. Now, let's go into it. So Nick and I do come from a background of catering trucks. So before I had my license, I used to always, get up in the morning and go help Nick load, and I used to like jumping in Nick's truck because he let me drive the truck, and I would hang out with Nick, and he let me drive the truck and listen to the radio station. So we have that bond, but we do come from background that we both used to, hustle, and that's, we'll get into that, how real estate and our careers do mix. So we do come back from a background of getting up in the morning and going to work, and, that hustle and meeting different people, and the actual of, and I'm sure Nick, if you spoke to Nick, told him about his background, we used to actually sometimes even go to work and lose money, not make money, and we would still have a smile on our face. And that's why sometimes Nick and I, we say, we are where we are today because of our background and where we started from.
It was a tough business, and that business has taught us, I think, both so much, because, and I relate to it when it comes to real estate and the way that it allowed me to become successful doing what I do every single day is because, selling, whether you're driving. So for those that don't know, we used to have a catering truck, and we used to go to construction sites and serve, Italian sandwiches, coffee. We were serving drinks,
famous beef patties,
honey buns, we had it all. We were, and make sure that we provided to those that when they were on their breaks, we would have their coffee or their drinks, at the time, and we would go in and we would sell food. And a lot of that business, Rock, and I'm sure you can relate to this, is it wasn't about the food that we were selling. You had to make sure that we had the quality and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, sales are sales,
Yes.
right? And we, selling a veal sandwich or selling a honey bun or selling a beef patty, it wasn't about that. It was the relationships that we had to build to actually sell our product. And it was the relationships that we built with the site supers at that time, so that we would be able to have our trucks, because back then, and I'm sure it's still the same now, it was about making sure that you built that relationship with that site super who chose the coffee truck that was going to be on that site, and then you were the one that was able to service that site through that time, because you couldn't have 10 coffee trucks coming in there. You needed one truck serving the entire subdivision. Mm-hmm. So I relate to it because real estate in general is about relationship building. And I used to have to build those relationships with those site supers to get further jobs and to continue, growing that business. Because I remember, as you know, I ended up getting that. I started with your dad in one summer job, but then eventually I went on my own and I built 7 coffee trucks, right? And then your dad ended up building with you and him.
Well, if anybody knows Nick, he doesn't stop. If it's all in or not. So Nick,
I've always been that way.
Always been that way since day one. So if anybody wants to know, Nick, I can say all the time, like I've known Nick 3 years of my life, or he does it right, doesn't do it at all. It's no, 50-50. It's 100% all in. Going back to the catering, and this is where we bring into real estate. We're selling our service. We're talking about Tim Hortons has always been around. And as Nick knows, we used to go into sites, and it's not just the coffee or the honey. Actually, it's the being our service, our personality. And if you know Nick and myself, we have that character. Like I learned to speak Portuguese. Bon dia, como estás? Because a lot of Spanish, hola.
Yeah, we had to build
to our buyer and then our service. So at the end of the day, they're not just coming for that hot cup of coffee. They're coming more. They used to say, we just come to see you because it's change their day, or if they like a bartender, or they would tell us your problems.
But you were building your relationships with your customers so that they would come in and want to buy that product from you and not bring it from home a lot of times.
And it was always repeat business. We know that is real estate because you start building a clientele. Like I still see carpenters that I known for 20 years of my life. And they always say, we talk, and it's just building that relationship. So the momentum of selling a coffee, yes, but as a service, your personality. And as you know, when we talk about in real estate, is sometimes, everyone says you can sell a house. Yeah, anybody can sell a house, but the service and, making sure the right decision and, being there for the person and, a lot of different things as a person, as a personality. And, and as Nick knows, and I've grown that, in learning from Nick and, being a mentor and not just in real estate or in life in general. And I think we'll discuss that as we go through. But, yeah.
I want to go back to the point of understanding that a good salesman is somebody who's going to be able to factor 2 main things when they're building that relationship with that client, right? And whether we're looking to find somebody, a listing or a seller, whether we're looking to find a buyer who's going to want to work with you, whether we're looking to generate a job to service food on their construction sites, whether you're looking to sell insurance. It's going to come down to 2 main factors. And the 2 main factors I always kind of relate to is the likability. People want to do business with somebody that they like. And that's just human nature. And trustability. People want to do business with somebody that they trust. And I said this, and I say this quite often, is that you want to nail 2 main factors when you're trying to, when you're in front of a client, is that person's got to really like you and they got to trust you. And when we were, and that business, when it was catering at the time, taught me so much about how to build that relationship with somebody when it came to now selling a bigger product. Instead of selling the food, I was looking to take on one of their biggest investments of their life. Why would somebody want to give me the opportunity who just started out in an industry and give me their biggest pride, possession, and ownership that they would ever own and entrust it in my hands? And it didn't come easy, right? And you have to build that. You have to build that. That person has to like me, and he's gonna have to trust me that he's gonna give me that. And we provided that service. And I think that's something that I instilled with you very early on in your career, right? And I just want to get your thoughts on, when you started out, Rock, in the industry. What was it like for you, and some kind of background on that?
So as you all know, as we said earlier, I was in the catering, and as Nick got out, I'm just a little bit younger than Nick. And I remember at a family event, Nick just looked at me and says, "Get off this truck and go get your license." So that's what I did, and I want to thinking of talking to Nick and Angela,
because at the time I had an overwhelming business too, that I needed somebody to help me manage that business, right? And that's where it started. That's where I started my team. Is like it started with just me and my wife, and then we ended up getting an assistant. But now it was like to the point where it's like I got all these buyers that I don't have time to service anymore, and I need somebody to help me service those clients by taking them out and showing them properties and so forth.
I remember that conversation. You said, "What do you think?" I said, "Nick, we used to get up at 4:30 to lose money. You're sending me to make money? Like, give me my 6 months, get my license." So that's what I did, and it was a little bit hard from going back to school. And I want to thank even Nick and Angela helping me. Also my siblings, my sister Kathy and my brother Domenico at the time. I went to go do the license, and it's hard to from going, leaving school for so many years and going back. It's a bit frustrating, but having like I said, family and support. So here I am. I get my license. So the question for a new agent is, what were your struggles? I had struggles, but this is where I'm trying to get at. Is I'm lucky. And you say, how are you lucky, Rocco? Because as any new agent, you get into the business, right? You think, okay, here we go. I'm going to sell. I'm just using an example. My aunt wants to sell her house because I'm her nephew. I sell her house, and then what? How do I get that new business? And as a new agent in getting into the industry, having a mentor and just step aside that we're related and we're cousins, right? We're like brothers, but having a mentor like Nick and then Angela as well, right? I'm getting into a business that here I go, and I have and as Nick always phrased it, I can say my partner, not my boss, a partner. I'm already a partner in his business established. Okay, a very known realtor.
It was important for me. I didn't want people to think that you worked for me, right? Because this is your business, and I just want to teach you how to build a business.
So as soon as as soon as I got my license, everybody knows. Hey, Rocco P, as we call us, Rocco Oppedisano got his license. Nick's cousin. So people felt comfortable to say, "Hey, I got to talk to you. You got to sell my house, or I'm looking to buy." Because, like I said, and I'm saying it is. Already they know that I'm partners. I'm on a team with someone with experience. And as a young agent in the industry, people can say, "Well, I can do it. Yeah, go do it." And I can see it. Remember, as a young agent, I'm like, so right away I get my license, and Nick gets me an office. Nick gets me business cards. I'm on his flyer run. He's bringing me around, introducing me to everyone as his partner. So, as a new agent, I felt like I've been doing this for years. Now, and I'm not saying it just for me because I'm his cousin. As we proceed in this conversation, as a new agent, I had struggles personally, but I had to pick up that phone. Like, I'll use an example.
Well, the insecurities, right? We all have certain insecurities that we needed to work on, and that's what we had to make you feel more comfortable with.
But making me feel comfortable, if I had a question, like for example, here's an example. I had a client, Nick and me work with a client, and I put an offer together. Right. So here I go. I'm learning an offer. And then luckily for Nick, and I laugh about it now, and Nick asked me, "What about the pool?" I said, "What do you mean the pool's there?" I didn't know what a pool inspection was. But having Nick, right, I did not look bad in front of the client because like Nick said, we're doing one of their biggest decisions in their lives. Having Nick with that, experience, like I never knew what a pool inspection was. And I'm sure a lot of agents that get into the industry don't know certain things. So what I'm trying to get is, as a new agent coming in, and I had personal struggles, but my struggles weren't as a struggle because I had you and Angela pick up the phone or ask a question, and you making sure that you do this, guiding me the right way to be that agent. So here I am, a new agent, but really, I have this confidence that I can do this.
Because you had that experience backing you up, right?
And that's why today I am where I am, and I'm saying that, as we discussed, is yes, as a new agent, some new agents have struggles, and they're going to say I struggled here. I did struggle, getting new clients. Yes, trying to get my listing presentations. I personally struggled, but I had that go-to as my partner, as my mentor. So that struggle wasn't a long struggle. It was just, "Hey, Nick, I need to ask you a question." Yes.
Yeah, remember those days that we used to work on your scripting, right?
Yes.
And we used to talk about, hey,
how I talk to people, right?
Your objection handling, right? Those are important factors that you have to really kind of master and craft. And then hanging around me a bit, you really start to kind of get the confidence to understand it. Hey, listen, if you're in this situation or you've been asked this question, you knew how to get yourself to answer that question, right? And I used to always say to you, if you don't know the answer to the question, don't answer the question, right? Because sometimes people are going to test you, right?
Yes.
Don't answer the question. Just say,
Yes.
hey, listen, let me find out, and I'll get back to you on that. At least you can show that you're not one of those guys that are just going to throw out information just because you want to try to look good, or you want to try to move on from it. Get them the actual facts. Don't make up anything on it, right? And at least you look like you know what you're talking about when you do, and it's important. But listen, you've obviously now become successful. Your hard work, shows to a credit to it. I do have a small percentage of maybe helping you out through the process, but a lot of it has to do with you showing up every single day. And you're one of those agents that come in within the office. You're there, you're committed, and it's that 80-20 rule. And I'm sure that because of that and your work ethic that's involved within your business has brought you to where you are today. Now that you're 7 years within the business, I want listeners to understand that, I truly feel for those that are just starting within the business that and teams are that movement where I think teams will just will grow, become bigger. If you're not part of a team, either create a team. And if you don't want to create a team and that's not your thing, then join a team, because I think that's where the future of real estate is evolving. You're 7 years in business now. You're doing very well for yourself. Why not leave the team? Why not go on your own?
Well,
What are the benefits to having still that structure around you?
If anybody knows me and get to know me, I'm a straightforward shooter. Like I said, I'm going to step away and I repeat, we're cousins. Why the OP team? Like I said earlier, I get into the business. My first year, I have a phenomenal year, right? And I get that build up. You feel successful. As an agent, as we do know, so when I first started, I was single, and then luckily, even through real estate, I met my beautiful wife. Actually, Nick introduced me at an open house. That's a different time for a different story. But so having a family now and having two beautiful young kids, you're time managing in this business. So the first thing is being on a team as a group of agents. There's only so much 24 hours on the clock. But as I proceeded in my career and also in my as a family man now, as a father, how do I manage that time? So let's go back to the question about on a team. First off a team, we feed off each other, right? We learn from each other. So we do have Nick and Angela as a mentor, but and anyone in the office can know, we talk, we become, very close as we're all partners as a group. But going back to the team is sometimes, I have. And it's happened to me. Thursday night, I have a showing with a client. Fortunately, something comes up. Who do I call? I call one of my team members. Now, if I was on my own, I can call someone, right? But I can't, I'm talking about a person, maybe they're busy. But as a team, we know there's options to work together. Is the old saying, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, right? So already I can even... And another thing, I as a team is, we are as a group, we work together. We all feed off each other. Another great thing about...
I say this all the time in a listing presentation. I say you're not just getting one real estate agent. You're getting a team of agents at the same cost that you would hire one real estate agent to do that for you, right? Yeah. So servicing that client, and a big part of our business is servicing the client and making sure that the client is treated with the utmost passion of how they've maintained their property, and they want us to get that property and treat it the way they've treated it over for many years, and rightfully so. We have to make sure that we manage to do that kind of job, and I think individually doing it on your own is a big it's tough.
It's like I can come
because there's so many moving pieces, right, Rock?
At the end of the day, and I can say it. People, I always say, we have a few agents on the team. How do you do so many deals in time? Well, it's time managing, but we do have a factor. Like, for example, Joe Vital and I have been started at the same time. Giacomo, we've covered for each other. Now, sometimes Joe's a father as well. Call me at Rocco. You do a show? Yeah, no problem. When you have a client like that, with us, there's no I can't. Right? Let's at the end of the day, we can work together. Like you said, the service is unbelievable because we are there. We are there. Now, sometimes, sometimes it happens that one is busy or the other. But the thing is, what I'm trying to get is, as a new agent, and Nick, as you know, How do people say, how do I manage 3 listings and 3 buyers at the same time?
Tough to do.
Tough to do on your own.
Especially when you got 2 kids at home and a
2
wife,
kids
right?
at home, a wife, and the other thing is, so we just, use an example. Sometimes I have my, Nick and I have 2-3 listings together. How am I going to do 3 open houses on a Saturday at 2:00? I can't divide myself in 3. But I can't explain that to a client. They want an open house. So, all right, so yeah, we'll get an open house. I have one of my partner, my team members, and we work together. And that's a big deal in our industry. Like you said earlier, service. The service is what you're selling, right?
Because there's a lot of real estate agents out there, right, in the industry, and it keeps growing and growing and growing.
I've heard agents, I've heard agents tell clients, open houses, no, don't worry about it. They're just a waste of time. How? Because they cannot service it, right? And we've never said that, because going back to the question, why a team? Because as a team, I'm confident and I know, like you said, I can answer, yes, I can do that, or go do a showing. Sometimes, it happens, I have 2 clients that want to see this house on the same day. How am I going to service both?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So coming back to being on a team, there is that, working together as a group. Obviously, we take care of each other, we help each other. We're all here to grow as an individual, as a realtor. Obviously, our business. All right, and it makes life so much easier, and it's become so much easier to maintain clients and personal life, right? Like, as and one thing Nick always said to me is, you need to take a break. Sometimes
it's important.
Yeah, you have to shut it down.
You'll go in burnout mode.
Yeah, so I learned, sometimes I take a few days off, but I'm not that I'm personally off, but I know that Nick's there, or one of my team members. So
we talk about time blocking quite a bit, right? And time blocking within your schedule is very important, right? And the first things, like even on a 7-day work week, I think the first important things is making sure that you take a day off, you mark your day off first, right? And then you mark your family time, and then we try to work around that first, right? That component of your life, and I do the same thing for mine. Because those are my priorities of what I want. Like, I could work around the clock 7 days a week, but where's that going to get me, right? And I tell people all the time, if you're going to be cold calling, right? And there's many different ways that we go out there and we prospect and we try to find business. But if you're going to be cold calling, there's no point. And I used to do, Rock, I used to do a lot of cold calling early on in my career.
I know.
But there's no point you sitting there, for 4 hours, just, plugging away your calls, because by the time you get to the 3rd hour and you get to your 400 call, or your you don't even want to talk to anybody anymore.
You sound
right?
sloppy. You don't. You have to, like you said. This is why you are where you are today. And I say you have to give your 100%. You can't just do 50-50, right? At the end of the day, let's like you're saying, right? So and as I see young agents coming onto our team. Sometimes I see them stressing out. I said, what's wrong? I'm stressed. What do I do? Take a day off. What do you mean? Take a day off. Because
simplify it, right?
You're going to burn out.
Tomorrow's another day.
Going
back to that point, like, I don't want to sit there for 4 hours making calls. Why don't you sit there, make 100 calls, do it within an hour, and let's call it a day, right? Shut it down. If you ended up nailing an appointment, that's all good, right? If you ended up getting 3 or 4 leads from that session, you know what? Chalk it up as a great day, right? And then don't burn yourself out, because you can get burnt out much within this business, because there's so many moving pieces regarding marketing and administrative paperwork and dealing with the clients and buyer showings and listing appointments.
Dealing with someone's big a couple or individual's biggest events for their life. As we repeat, we're not buying a bike or selling a bike here. You're talking about some now millions of dollars, right? So you want to make sure you're on your A game, and that's why I say we come back to on the team, right? You know yourself. We've done some deals with some individuals. If I didn't have Nick there present, right? Be honest with you, you're talking about he has the experience. We're talking about deals that people want to make sure you're secure, that you crossed all your T's and dotted your I's.
Well, I think there's a lot to do with is having somebody there who can keep you accountable. Yes. And I think I've done a pretty good job of keeping you accountable. I have my accountability, and I need that within my business. Or within my daily life is having that person who's going to keep me accountable all the time, right? And I think, most agents starting out within the industry should have, what is your why? What's the reason why you're doing it? And who's going to keep you going and moving forward to, wanting to achieve more and grow your business yearly or quarterly, right? and taking that. But how many times did I say to you, Rock, when we got to go book up when I go on vacation or I booked a holiday and then all of a sudden a deal came through,
Well,
right? It's just the way the universe works sometimes. Right?
That's something like,
and I told you that, remember?
Nick told me, you want to make a deal? Yeah, book a vacation. And just a quick story, just before COVID.
That's a true story. Yeah.
Before COVID, Nick
It's
was
never failed
Nick
us.
was going to Italy with his family, and that morning, an offer came in on one of his properties. It was an exclusive property, and I'm driving Nick to the airport, and we're back and forth. And if you know what, there, when you're usually at the airport, you say bye right at the gate. Angela took the kids and said, "I'm leaving without you." And Nick and I were there negotiating the deal. Nick was the last person on the plane. And I still, until this day, he was going off to Europe, and there's that 9-hour delay. And Nick says, as soon as he lands, he texts me. So, sometimes going back to it, these are things we look about like, wow, like, out of the blue, we were there. He could not say, hey, listen, I'm on my way to it. We made the deal, and and these are experiences that I look back and like, wow, right? But going back to it, if I was an individual agent, how would I do that? Like, you're going on a family trip, right? And and then your mindset should be to enjoy.
And
right?
there are agents that maybe feel like, hey, yes, they can do it. But again, it's a system that we built inside our structure within our team that allows you that freedom to just operate on the more valuable tasks that I think you should be focused in on. And we have a good supporting cast built within the team that allows and helps out our agents through the process, so that they can just focus in on prospecting and get in front of their clients a little bit more. And that's how we built our success, and that's how we built the structure and our systems within the team itself. And I think those are big components, right? Because even when you went on vacation, right, there was that supporting cast behind you that needed, if you needed service, even regarding your clients or dealing with some administrative paperwork or things like that, it's provided and it was done for you.
I made a deal. Domenic was born September 18th. 2 years ago, and just so happened that day my buyer wanted to put an offer, right? So I'm lucky, I had.
You got to be there for the birth of your kid, right?
With a kid, right? So I pick up the phone. I remember Giacomo was another agent on our team, and I got it, right? So at the end of the day, it was like my birth of my kid, an offer, and and even the nurse looked at me like, "Are you okay?" Like, I'm in a dribble with a laptop, but at the end of the day, I called Jack. I said, "Jack."
And people don't realize how tough this business is,
No,
and the amount of time and the amount of effort that you got to be on call to service your clients all the time, right?
Everybody thinks, and this is, I laugh about it, is, oh, you're a real estate. It's all about suits and driving fancy cars and luncheon and dinners, and there's a back end to it.
There's a grind.
And I always say to young agents, you want to get into real estate, why don't you come shadow us for a week or two? And what do you mean? And at the end of the day, as Nick knows, and sometimes it's 7:00 and you got to go. Right, and some people unfortunately can't do that, or say I can't. Tomorrow's another day. Like I've heard stories that some clients got called me because their agent told them they can't put an offer after a certain time. Why? That's their we don't, how they work is their personal, but us as a team, that service always there is just, and that's why where we are today.
Yeah, because offers take the precedence of anything that we do, right? If a client needs to buy a house, if you don't put an offer within that evening, tomorrow morning they can wake up and that house is already sold, right? Somebody has an offer on one of my sellers' house or one of our listings, we want to make sure that we want to strike that buyer when they're hot and they're motivated, especially in the down market when that property's probably been sitting on the market. We want to try to make sure that we're gonna give them answers right away, because another property can come on the market tomorrow and there you go, we've lost a potential buyer that was going to originally buy that house, but we lost him to another listing that just came out on the market. So that's why we try to make sure that we strike the deal. But, and I say this with a but, is we always, as real estate agents, and what I like to advise is making sure that we structure our time first, right? And if you have a client who's determined to kind of, hey, I need to get out there right now, can you book an appointment? I need to go see it. Dropping everything that you do, is a tough process. And, letting people know that, hey, I'm not available, that I am busy, we need to set up a new date, is working around your schedule. And I think your schedule, being in control of your schedule, is very important.
Very important.
Right? And I think that's something that I like to kind of guide realtors on, right? And because or else you're just gonna be running for your clients all the time and be scrambling. And I get it, we want to service our people. But a lot of times having that team support, it's like, hey, I have plans with my wife and my kids tonight. Hey Giacomo, hey Joe, do you mind just going out and go show this? And
Totally.
they'll come back to you one day, right? How many times you going around, you're picking up brochures for realtors
Listen,
at the printing office, and getting them the open house signs or getting lock boxes set up for them, right? That's what it's about, and having that support and that structure.
The old saying, "There's no I in team," and
Yeah.
that's where I come from. And like I said, and I'm being an agent. I have 7 years behind me. When I see these young agents and they're becoming successful, the way you believed in me is now we believe in these young agents. And I just want everyone, obviously we're here to make a good living, but to be successful, it's not just the money sometimes. Like, there's some stories like I drove a coffee truck, right? There's nothing wrong because catering was always good to me. I made very good money. I purchased my first home driving a truck. But what I'm saying is, I know Joe, I come from a background of plumbing, right? And, where we are today, it wasn't just the word handed to us. We had to work hard. But coming back to it, having that mentor like yourself, Nick, and Angela, and having the team
that makes the job easier. But if you're not showing up every day,
but that's
right, and people want to know the systems. What's the secret into selling real estate? You know what the secret is in selling real estate is? Show up and go.
You remember what you
right?
told me
hard,
7 years
right?
ago, Nick? I never forget.
Do the right things within the business.
Nick told me real estate is like, you look at the volume of a radio. You want to make money, turn it up. As soon as you want to, as soon as you turn it down,
your business will slow down. And what we mean by that, and I just want to get into that, Rock, and I do say this quite often, is you can turn up this business and you can turn down this business as you like, right? And you can put up the volume control as you please. But and making sure that when you're there and you're turned up, you're working on the things that you need to do, and you're focused in on the things that you need to do every single day to generate that business, right? To find that new client and to do those things, because he's showing up and doing that, but having dialogue with friends on WhatsApp chat groups or on Facebook really ain't gonna make you into becoming really successful, right? It's if you're gonna do that, it's having real candid conversations about what you know in the real estate market and seeing if there's any service or interest that you can provide for that potential client.
Totally, but another thing you remember you telling me is, real estate's always around you. Anywhere you're gonna go, they're gonna talk real estate. And as Nick knows, when we go to family events or weddings, nobody asks how you're feeling. The first thing they ask is AOPs. How's the market? All right, and sometimes you and I look and we're like, here we go. So everybody wants to know about real estate, and I find real estate, and as Nick told me, is always around you. Everybody wants to know, what their house is worth. It makes them feel good or discuss the next move. So, as Nick's having, Nick, we have meetings, as you know, and just, keeping us updated in the market and what's going on, like this new market that we're getting into as well. So having, being prepared to go out there and, know what you're saying and doing the right things, you have that confidence. So going back to the question, why on the team? There's so many ways of looking at it. Why not? And as you know, working with.
Well, you got to think too. Like if you went on your own, right now you want to start. You have to start building a brand, right? Yeah. You got to start, which you probably have already currently right now. Mm-hmm. You probably have to kind of, take away from my brand as well. We call the OPP team. I always say the OPP team.
I always say Nick's got the looks.
But again, if I'm saying, and we'll put in respect for other real estate agents is, having and competing with those big marketing campaigns.
The brand, yes. Okay, I'm your cousin, is OP, but as you know, and you look around, and any of our agents can tell you, you brand us, Nick. Like what I think, if I have a listing, it's Nick and Rocco Oppedisano. A lot of agents out there that even have some team members is we're stepping, like I said, going back to it, you have all this year's experience, and I'm already stepping into your brand, right? And as you know, we discussed this with other agents as well, right? Like right away, if you're on a listing, your name is there, and I'm not gonna mention some other realtors out there. Everyone does what they want to do, but already as an agent myself, just being beside your brand that took you X amount of years to build, that's a big step in this industry.
I've been one of the pioneers early on with starting teams, and I know where you're going with this, is that there was a lot of teams out there that would just make it about them. Exactly. And I wasn't that guy. I believe that, hey, we can build a brand within a brand. and I have agents on the team that run with their own brand. I don't care. Go ahead. You want your own logo. You want your own brand.
Whatever works for you.
If
Right?
it could work together, let's work together on it, and we can try to build from there. And which is great. Which is I don't mind. Hey, listen, let me help you build your business, and you are helping me in return. It's a win-win for both sides, and that's what it's about, right? And it's not about, hey, no, it's just about the OP team, and my side needs to be there, and you can't have your rider on there, and you're not going to be on the MLS listing, and so forth and so forth. And I was never in that belief on it, and I still believe that you don't have to be that person or that team leader, because it's not just about me. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the credibility of my team and the hard work and the effort that they make every single day to help and encourage and grow the brand. And if I could do the same thing for them, why not? Doesn't affect me in any way.
And being an agent on your team, that's that means a lot to hear that from your team leader, and doing these advertising, these marketing, having us to have that ability to show that I'm a serious agent, right? And like I said, building a brand, and as you know, and I've seen you over the years, it's not easy, and obviously it's not cheap.
There's a lot of money that you need to invest into something like that.
Totally
right?
get it, right?
A lot of money investing into building it, and it's worth it. It's productive, but again, you have to really make sure that wheel is continuing to get fed.
I'll say the honest truth, and I can tell you, I have a lot of in friends and referrals, and hey, you're gonna sell my house? Yes, I am. And Nick's going to be there. Yeah, Nick's my partner is going to be there, right? Now, sometimes, like I said earlier, sometimes, people say, oh, I'm selling a house. It's a family member, But now, especially now, what's going on now in this market, and Nick and I know is, it's changing. You want that experience. You want that realtor. And I've seen you in action on the negotiating day. You don't learn that in school. You learn that with experience. Mm-hmm. And as myself, and I'm feeding off your experience and other agents and different, tactics to make me a better agent or a better person as a whole, makes me want to, do this job every day. Like I said, people, the money, at the end of the day, Nick, and we always joke around, money's not everything in life. It helps. I would say it helps, but it's not just the money. It's like, I have some past clients that we worked together. Like, they went from renting a condo to they're into a detached. And, I always say, baby steps. Every time you see me, the baby steps of the procedure that I learned, from Nick, explaining how to get that person from point A to point B into that, as their life to a family, from a condo to a family home.
And that's what we try to educate,
that's
right?
what I try to educate,
yeah.
Right? And the thing is, and sometimes I use newer agents like I was, we need those mentors to explain. Like sometimes, as we're talking, some of the younger agents, not that I correct them, my opinion is I would do it this way because I have a little bit more experience and coming from experience from you. And, and I just don't want to make them, look bad or guide their client the wrong way because like you said, we're building relationships here. Like I've done deals in the last 7 years with, referral basis. And that's one of the biggest pillars that in real estate, as you taught me as we go, is the service, right? People gonna like you. Trust me. In the long, you're gonna get a lot of referral business. But going back to it, it's on the team as a whole, and I love the atmosphere, and especially we're discussing, and obviously in a good or not a bad market or a switching market, we discuss, as I like a lot of young agents, they do open houses. Even if I'm not doing the open houses, I like to call them. How's it going? Everything good? Any questions? Any help with open house signs? The service as a team being, having a little bit more experience.
That's where you come in to support the team, right? A lot of that is managed and run by you where, you're making sure that if an agent has, needs a flyer created, making sure that marketing is directed that way, or if they need certain open houses for that event. You're making sure that you're helping them out to get that. If they need their brochures to be picked up, you're that guy. If the lockboxes need to be installed, you're that guy. I think every team that's currently out there has a support cast or somebody who's an individual like yourself who's going to support the team on that perspective. And those that are going to start out, young within building their team, you're going to need my Rocco.
Oh, that means a lot. Wow.
Wow. But it's important. But teams need that, right? So,
Listen,
certain teams need that guy who's going to go out there and have that be that support cast for their team members, right? Because if you don't have that, well,
there's, I guess I'm going to use an example, and then it's a lot of, we have not the female agents on the team. Sometimes they're doing open houses. Like I said, my wife's an agent too. I have a sister. I treat them like my own family because we are family. I want to make sure they're okay, and not just the ladies, even the gentlemen. But sometimes like that, I'll go by everything okay because making sure everything is good, and my whole concept is coming here as a team. Like I said, I'm family. We want everyone to be successful, but be safe.
We want everybody to grow.
Everyone to grow, right? Unfortunately, sometimes people have a different opinion of the word team on real estate, right? And that's why I always say before you want to go on your own or think about joining a team, you're welcome. Come shadow us. See how my daily event goes as a realtor.
Yeah,
right?
and let's talk about that. Let's get into that a little bit. Let's dive deep into how you built your success. What was that real driving force, Rock, for you that supersede expectations for yourself? Like, what are you doing to find clients out there?
Well, to find clients out there, I'm going to say it again. I use the brand, Nick. I use the brand. The other day, I know we picked up a listing. Good cousins of ours, a friend of ours, going to sell the house, and they were talking about it. And I just, with all the confidence in the world, why don't you call the OP team? What happened, Nick? Right? You read the message. So going out there and like I said, and I talk to you maybe more than my wife during the day, but we talk, and you educating me because I learn something every day, and you taught me that in my career. You're gonna learn something every day.
This business will do that.
That's in
you're
life.
learning every day.
Every day in life, you
learning.
learn something, right? Exactly. Yeah. Going out there, especially in this market, and knowing what to say, and like I said, and especially in this market is changing. You want that realtor with experience and get with a big data and know what to say. In a hot market, 40 offers, anybody pick an offer. It's pretty simple, but those times have changed. And what am I doing out there is going out there and talking to people, and knowing what to say, good or bad, right? Like I don't want to put fear into people all the time. Like at the end of the day, if you look at your hand, every finger is different. Everyone's situation that I learned in real estate is, everybody has a different story. There's always a story behind why they're buying, why they're selling. It can be good, and sometimes, as we know, it can be bad. But as an agent, is to make sure that the service is there to make both parties, buyer or seller, or as a client that usually become friends, have the great experience. And we always say not to stress because it is one of the biggest investments in your life. But when they put trust into you, that feeling is, there's no words that can explain to it.
And I agree. And I think me and you, when you first started out within the business, I always had this kind of built-in system I wanted to simplify the business, especially, somebody who came in from the catering business that doesn't have any knowledge, yet in regards to real estate is okay, Rock. Well, listen, you're coming in from one sector of one different industry. Now you're coming into real estate. We need to find you some clientele base, right? And I narrowed it down to 6 different ways to go and find business.
Pillar
right?
system.
What right? So what are those 6 different ways in defining the system? What do you understand about that right now?
So as the pillar system is one of the greatest system you explained to me is there's as open houses. I love doing open houses. I like to be in front of people. That goes back to my catering career, being in front of people, talking to people.
That's who you are.
That's who I am.
Yeah, you're better on a face-to-face.
I'm better on a face-to-face. But the thing is, what I learned that Nick, you taught me, is the scripting. Scripting like a cold call. I'm not good on the phone, but in a person, I use the scripting, but the wording I use, it's not, hey, what you have to sell. I know, I've learned the tactic. Oh, great. How are you? Nice to meet you. Have you been looking? Yeah. So the scripting.
You made it to yourself. You made it to what resembles you. So
open houses, to me, I enjoy, talking to people. What's the reason? Are you looking? So being in front of people is great open housing. Center of influence. Nick always said you should be giving out every day. Try and give out 5-6 cards out. I'm like a social butterfly. Bakeries, restaurant, talking to. I'm very fluent
in front of people.
I'm very fluent in Italian as well. And there's a lot of Italians call me, feel comfortable. Or family friends speaking that second language is great. So center of influence is another great.
Yeah, because you were never listen. So when we talk about the 6 pillar systems itself, is right. We already know what it is to go out and attribute clientele, right? there's for sale by owners we can go and attract. There's open houses that we can do. You can go door knocking. You can cold call.
Cold calling.
You can go after expired listings, but not really go after expired listings anymore, right? There's it's a touch and go. I know agents that still do it, but anyway, that's a long story. That's on its own, right? And then you got your center of influence. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it, right? So I said, let's see what works for Rocco, because you may not be the best person on the phone to be cold calling. You may not be, the most door knocker, right? Especially nowadays, with the pandemic that we got past, people didn't even want to answer doors anymore, right? So it's like, okay, so how do we? And then there's the do not call list, and then you can't hit expires anymore through the RICO rules and regulations that got implemented, right? So how do we go out there and rock to contribute to your business? And it's about face to face. And I said, let's work out of the 6, let's pick 3. Yep. And we narrowed it down for him, right? And says, okay, Rock, I feel that you're more of a face-to-face, interaction type of person. So open houses, as soon as we have an open house, I want you to have one and try to be there every single weekend, unless it's on your day off schedule, right? So open houses were one thing. So now if you're working a Saturday and Sunday,
I take the Friday off.
Take the Friday off, right?
And that's what I've been doing for years.
Take the Monday off, right? Those are certain things. If open house, and then open house, center of influence, you're very big on your center of influence. So you'll be generating and going around and making sure that when you were working, you were out there, whatever, restaurants there were, or espresso bars there were, or bakeries there were. I just wanted you to go in there and see if you found somebody that you knew. And I told you, go in there and go around different places, doctor's office, dentist's office, nail salons, your barber, wherever you got to go. Your objective was to make sure that you handed out 6 business cards and had one simple real estate conversation with them. And that was a big achievement, right? And then we narrowed it down from those two factors. And I think those were the 2 biggest contributing factors of your business.
But I can tell you one thing. As soon as I give that business card, the first thing they would say is, oh, how's Nick doing? Like I said, the brand. And it's not how Nick's doing your cousin. When the conversation, how's Nick doing, meaning you're with Nick. And I get, yes, Nick, we're doing good. See, the word is we're doing good, right? And as you as a team leader, you've always said, I'm your partner. And that's something really big especially when you're going to center influence. Like I said, right? Knowing the brand.
Yeah, because I don't want you to feel like you're it's different. If you're a staff member, or you're our admin section, or you're part of our marketing team, the way I'm accountable to make sure that our business thrives every single day, because we have to support them to make sure that they have a place to go to work to every single day. They keep me accountable to make sure that, hey, I need to do the things from that, and it's part of a business operation. As realtors, it's different, right? Because you guys are just commission incentivized, and if you don't make a deal, you ain't getting paid, right? You're not on payroll.
No.
Other my realtors are not on payroll. You need to go out there and make some deals, and if you're not making deals, it's tough. It's tough to survive. Right, and we know that, and there's a lot of those factors that are involved, and I think that the realtors that are not making the deals, and there's a big percentage of them, 80% of realtors today only do or transact between 1 to 2 deals a year. 20% chew up the remainder throughout the GTA. Imagine that stat. Imagine those numbers. They're big numbers, and I think it's imperative that if you're doing the right things every single day, you'll become successful. Oh, yeah. If you're not, good luck. Now, having the programs and the systems and the guidance makes it easier.
But it comes down, like you always said, it's a numbers game, right? And at the end of the day, the more you put into it, it's gonna. Sometimes I do 4 or 5 deals in a month, and maybe some months it's quiet. And that's another thing I learned from you from being a young agent is I'm using an example. Some agents make a deal, and you see them go buy that watch, or go buy that expensive car. And sometimes it's even guiding these any agent, or especially young agents, is
save your money.
Save your money. You gotta put away Daddy Trudeau first. And some days, just, I'm not saying don't spend your money, but
don't spend it before you make it, because
exactly
you're 50% when the deal is actually done and firm, right?
We always say the deal's done after their keys are in their hand, right?
Yeah.
And and another thing too is learning from you is even the time of year. Example, we're going into the holidays now. We're still transacting, but there's not that March big rush. Those 4, 5, 6 deals you can do in a month, 7. compared to December, holidays are coming in. You're still building your pipeline. But like I said, going back to it, learning from Nick is this time of year, what's the good time of year to start, using, during the holidays, talking to clients. Like I said, real estate is always going to come up.
Well, this is the time that we focus in on build and working on our business and not so much in our business, right? So what are we going to do to prepare for now 2023 in a shift of a market and a down market? So my question to you now, Rock, is 2023, right? We're in a shift of a market. Things are changing. Totally. Inflation is higher than it ever was in history. Things are very expensive for people to even to really survive out there today, which is tough. And my heart goes out to them. What is it that you're planning to do for 2023, and what are you going to do to make your business grow from 2022?
So my business plan for the new year, obviously, as you said, things are changing. I'm setting myself as, like I said earlier, you're planning. You're not going into talking to someone. It's all about, I'm buying a house, or I'm upgrading. I might be going to situations that they're losing a house. I'm going to situations, unfortunately, they have to sell because there's a family situation. So I'm building myself and talking. We talked about this the other day. Is getting ready, educating myself is on a switch of a market. How do we approach? Stay calm, but always give the right right information. And unfortunately, we are gonna. I think we're gonna get into situations that it's not gonna be a great scenario. But want to make sure that I can make sure my best of my ability to get that home sold or buy that home that they can afford, and I'm that's what I'm doing right now, is getting ready to even how do I approach and proceed in the new year in this changing market, and like I said, real estate is always around you, as we know. Unfortunately, in a good market or a bad market, we're still transacting. It's just I have to be prepared to, like you said, make sure I'm saying the right things. I'm guiding the right way, and being on a little bit more, top of my game, and showing up, and just being positive.
I think more than ever before, right?
Oh, yes.
And from when you first started within the business, right? Then it has been the past couple of years where I think deals were coming a little bit easier.
Too easy, and and the thing is, like I remember when I first started out. The first month, it was bidding wars lining up in front of a door. I remember Nick dropping me off, says, "Stand here in line, I'll be back." And were you I was like, "What's this?" And it was just like offer every night and just transacting. Now we're getting into it's actually working a little hard out there because one, there's a lot of realtors out there, we know, right? And there's everyone's there for the same reason, obviously to provide for their family. How do I stay within, the business, especially in this changing market? And this is where I'm going to come back, is I'm grateful to have a mentor like yourself, a team leader, that if I do have a question, because you've been through these markets, right, and educating me and guiding me the right way, right, I feel that confident that I'm not really worried about the industry.
That you're ready for it.
I'm ready for it because, like I said earlier, the question you asked me, what did you struggle when you came in the industry? I personally struggled, but I didn't really struggle because I had, you're my mentor. I came to you. Not that we're looking bad, but I had that question to ask you because you've been through it. And that's I say to any young agent getting into the industry or joining our team or getting into the business, yeah, it's great to do 20 deals on your own, but how do you do it? And if you're doing that, you're not doing that in the first year.
Even if you can, I think being an individual agent, you will plateau because there's so many deals that you're going to be able to do as an individual, right? Because you're only one person, and you
must have help in the back end. And so, like I said, going back to it, a lot of people say, "No, I do it on my own." Doing the business for long, it's not.
It can be done.
It can.
But you're working hard, man. You're working around the clock, right?
Hard.
So,
and then you get sloppy.
My advice to people is if you are going to try to run this on your own, which you can, and you want to start within this business, and you don't want to go work for a team, and you want to feel like you want to go do and build your own brand. Yeah. You listen. There's another Rocco Oppedisano that could be coming out in the woodworks, Rock, and there's you can never stop anybody from their dreams and their ambitions of what they want to do in life. And that is great, and I think somebody should want to. But first thing they should do is hire admin staff, hire an admin to help you take away certain tasks within your business that will take you away from what you really need to do, and that's being in front of clients to make those deals and transact, right? You shouldn't be dealing with your social media campaigns. You shouldn't be dealing with your website. You shouldn't be dealing with any administrative paperwork. That stuff has to be kind of relinquished from your task and your duties as a daily realtor, so that you can emphasize on making sure that you're working on your business instead of working within your business.
But as you know, like I was saying, being on the team, I show up, I have a listing coming up, we have marketing, right? I just, it's already, it's like I said, it's there for me that I'm using.
The support,
right?
the support
is there.
Support
The staff is there. So, and going back to it, and like I said, I know your background better than anyone. None of our parents are realtors, so it's not that, with all respect, people are handed the business. You started from scratch and look where you are today. And being that successful, I'm, as happy as joy, but to see where you are today, because I've seen you through your process, but it gives me...
Oh, you see me at the very early stages.
Very early staging, but
yeah.
Sometimes, people ask, Nick's dad's not a realtor. My dad, we do have an uncle in the industry as well, but he's more on the commercial end. But going back to the residential, right? You were not handed down a book of business. You started your business, and as an agent, and say, you if you did it right, and I listened to you, right, I can be successful, right? And that's something big as an agent, getting joining a team, and the question I ask you, how are you going to prepare 2023? I'm preparing myself personally, but I know coming to you that have been through these markets, I'm not the word scared. I know as long as I listen to you, we're going to make it, right? There's a way to approach it. And the old saying, the strong survive. Being on the OP team, I feel being a survivor, I will be strong, because at the end of the day is, I know that, going into different markets and dealing in different situations, I have someone to go to, right? And that's where I'm trying to get to. Any agent, right? Make sure you have that mentor that I have. Not that I'm saying this because I'm going back to it. I want to, I do my business, yes. But having a mentor like yourself and saying the right things is going to help my business totally.
And I think a lot of people, everybody needs a mentor. I had a mentor, and but these are important parts of what helped me build my success, is having somebody there to guide me through major business decisions, right?
Totally.
As I've been through.
Even stepping out of real estate, we're going back to the basics. So, sometimes I always say to people is a home a need or a want? It's both, right? And then what do you mean? Like, you need to live somewhere, right? But what you want, maybe unfortunately we can't get now. So how do you guide?
How do we build?
How do we build them? And like I said, shadowing you over the years, I've learned the structure, and I say that a lot. Is baby steps. Is let's start here. Eventually, we're going to get
financial
here.
literacy, right? It's a big problem today, and I think schools don't teach that enough.
I think they
and
should
guiding people to understand that.
I said this to you before. Even the high schools. Mr. Lecce, you listening out there? There should be a course or a credit in buying real estate or getting a mortgage, right? And we've been saying that because a lot of young people today, right, don't understand buying a home
and the process of
right?
it. And that's the reason why we started this podcast, right, to provide this education.
But the thing is, going into the new year, that's another strategy. I'm talking to a lot of young parents, is not for them now building a portfolio, because there's some great opportunities and there's some people that don't have the guide, and that's another big pillar of my business next year is, how do I get my clients build that portfolio for the future of their children?
Yeah, it's not just that one sale. It's how about we can get them to invest to build that for their kids and their kids and generation. That's
something I've been thinking about for the next year.
That's awesome. Well, listen, Rock, I just want to say, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. I'm looking forward to your continued success.
Awesome.
As you succeed, I succeed. As I succeed, you succeed. So it's a pleasure, and have you on the team has been a true accomplishment for myself, and I'm glad to see where you are today. So all the best moving forward, and thanks for coming on.
And I hope I can be on again. We'll do this again for sure. And I just want to thank you for guiding me and being my mentor and being where I am today. And you're a big part of my life, on my business and my personal life. And so just anybody out there, like I said, you want to call myself or Nick, or you want to ask me questions about the team, feel free, and I would love to discuss.
Yeah, if anybody's looking to get into real estate and needs a little bit of guidance and wants some listen, it's free to have a conversation. So reach out to us at the OP team. .com, or you can hit us up on Instagram, the OP team _. Just send us a DM. We'll definitely have you come by and we can sit down and have a quick chat.
Looking to buy or sell? Call a team you can trust. Don't believe me? Our Google reviews say it all. Put us on your lawn, your house will be gone. TheOPteam.com.